Have you ever jumped into a game with friends just for an hour and then looked at the clock 4 hours later with a sore throat, minus one friendship, plus 100 memes, and one simple question? What the hell just happened? If yes, this video is for you. Today I'm showing games to play with friends where the goal is not to win, but simply to have fun. There will be no sweetie rankings here, no perfect balance, no esports, just chaos. People screaming in Discord, stupid deaths, betrayals, and moments that are impossible to explain to anyone who was not in the party. Let's go. 10th place, Goose Duck. Goose Duck is one of those games that often kicks off a night with friends. Not because it's the funniest game ever, not because it's the best in its genre, but because it's perfect and breaking the ice. At its core, it's social deduction. Some players are regular G's, running around the map and doing tasks. Others are ducks, doing everything they can to sabotage that. But the most important part here is not even the gameplay, it's the people. Every round turns into a mini performance. Someone immediately starts defending themselves. Someone goes suspiciously quiet. Someone accuses everyone way too aggressively. And someone, as always, says, I honestly have no idea what's going on. The funniest moments in Goose Duck always happen during meetings. That moment when arguments run out, logic completely dies, and everything turns into lines like, he was running weird, he looked at me funny, I don't know, I just feel like it's him. And yeah, sometimes the winner is not the smartest player, but simply the one who talks the loudest. That said, the game does have a downside. If you play with the same group for a long time, people start reading each other too well. You know who lies how, who stays silent, who panics, and slowly the magic fades away. That is why Goose Duck takes the 10th place. It's a great game to start the evening, to warm up, to play with a new group, or when you just want to arc and yell a bit. But if we are talking about pure endless chaos, the game further down this list do it even better. 9th place. Content warning. Content warning is a game that explains the rules right away. You are not here to survive, you are here for content. In the story, you and your friends are bloggers. Just people with a camera who go into the most dangerous places for one reason only. Because it might get views. And that is exactly where the fun comes from. You are not just running away from a monster. You are trying to film it in a cool way. You get closer, you try not to shake, you try not to scream, and then you scream anyway and drop the camera. Every session content warning feels like a complete comedy sketch. Someone dies first and immediately starts yelling from spectator mode. Someone suddenly becomes the bravest person in the group, right until they realize there is no way out. And someone in pure panic pushes a teammate and pretends it was totally on purpose. But the funniest part starts after the mission, when you rewatch the footage. All the screams, camera cuts, random close-up shots of the monster somehow look even funnier than they did in the moment. Content warning is perfect for short gaming session, groups of 3 to 4 players, clips, highlights and shorts. But it does have a downside. The game shines the most in the first few hours. Once you already know what to expect, the fear gets smaller and some of the magic fades away. That is why it takes the 9th place. It's a very funny game, a very clip friendly game, but not something you will play every night for months. Still, as a way to have a fast, loud, and chaotic evening, Content Warning delivers 100%. 8th place, Raft. Raft is a game that feels incredibly calm at first. An ocean, sunlight, a wooden raft. You and your friends just drifting forward picking up trash. But that feeling lasts exactly until someone says, wait, where's the food? Raft is the perfect example of how a friendly co-op slowly turns into passive-aggressive chaos. Someone is always starving, someone forgot to drop the anchor, someone fell into the water again, and the shark, as usual, is always nearby. The most common scenario looks like this. One player is trying to build something. The second one is exploring an island. The third is just running around and feeling that they are about to die. And the fourth one is somewhere. Nobody knows where. Raft doesn't force you to scream non-stop, but it creates a lot of very relatable moments. when you actually discuss who is going to do what, when you argue about who is responsible for the raft falling apart again, when someone accidentally eats the last potato and pretend it was totally fine. This game is perfect for long sessions. It's great to jump into it in the evening, turn on voice chat, and just drift while talking about everything and nothing. But that is exactly why Raft sits at the 8th place. It's more of a cozy co-op than pure chaos. The memes come slowly, they don't explode every single minute. If you want to relax with friends and laugh at everyday co-op failures, Raft is a great choice. But further down the list, we have games where the chaos starts much faster. 7th place, Pummel Party. Pummel Party is that kind of game that looks like a fun party at first, but about 10 minutes later turns into a battlefield. At a glance, everything seems simple. A board, minigames, dice basically Mario Party vibes. But very quickly you realize something important. No one plays fair here. Every turn is a choice. Help yourself or completely ruin your friend's lives. And, as experience shows, the second option gets picked way more often. The funniest moments are always the same. Someone was smiling just a second ago, then a trap hits them. They fall into a pit, lose everything, and instantly become the most toxic player in the lobby. The minigames themselves are very different. Sometimes you need to be fast, sometimes careful, and sometimes you just have to pray that you get luckier than everyone else. And yes, random plays a huge role here. That randomness is exactly what makes Pummel Party so chaotic. You can play perfectly the entire match and then lose everything because of a single item. Or the opposite, you are the underdog the whole game, but clutch the win at the very last moment, and then spend the next 10 minutes listening to everyone hate you. But there is a catch. Pummel Party is very much a mood game. You should not play it too often, and definitely not when the group is tired or already irritated. Otherwise, the fun can end very quickly. That is why I take the 7th place. It's an amazing game for one evening. Guaranteed laughs, shouting, and dirty plays. But if you overdo it, the friendship might not survive. 6th place. Little Company. Little Company is a perfect example of a game that is genuinely scary when you play alone, but turns into a comedy of mistakes with friends. The formula seems simple. You're a team, you have an objective, there is a timer, and there are places you should probably never go. And of course, you go there anyway. The funniest moments start when you lose each other. Someone walks off just for a second, someone says they know the way, and a minute later, in a voice chat you hear, "Guys, I'm not alone." The little company works perfectly on contrast. One second you are laughing, discussing the plan, and the next someone screams so loudly their microphone cuts out and the connection suddenly drops. Another huge part of the fun is trust. You actually start relying on your friends. Who is going to cover you? Who will check the hallway? Who will carry the loot? And at that exact moment, someone always closes the door, right in front of your face. Very often, little company session end the same way. One person survives, everyone else is dead, everyone is yelling, and the final result is still a failure. But for some reason, those are the rounds people remember the most. The game does have a downside. If you play it too often, the feel slowly fades away and some of the tension is lost. But even then, the chaos caused by bad decisions, panic, and content fails never really goes away. That is why it takes the 6th place. Little Company is not just a horror game. It's a generator of clips, memes, and stories that always start with, "Do you remember that one time?" 5th place, Party Animals. Party Animals is a game that looks completely harmless at first. Cute animals, bright maps, funny animations. It feels like a simple chill party game. But about 1 minute in, you realize one thing. Only the most ruthless player survives here. The controls are intentionally clumsy. Characters grab each other awkwardly. Punches look more like hugs. Jumps feel like random falls. And because of that, every single fight turns into a circus. The best moments in Party Animals are when no one understands who is actually winning. You think you are doing fine. A second later, you are being dragged to the edge of the map. one more moment, and you are flying down, while your friends pretend that it just happened. Another great part is the variety of modes. Sometimes you just need to knock everyone off the map, sometimes you have to hold a point, and sometimes you simply need to survive, while everything around you is falling apart. And every time, the chaos feels a little bit different. Party Animals is perfect for groups where everyone is on the same level. It doesn't matter how much experience you have with games, everyone is equally bad here, and that is exactly why it's fun. But there is a catch. Party Animals is best for short sessions. After about an hour, you have seen almost everything it has to offer, and it's better to take a break than to try squeezing more out of it than it can give. That is why it takes the fifth place. It's very funny, very memorable, perfect for a night with friends. But further down the list, there are games that hit harder and stick with you longer. Fourth place, Sons of the Forest. Sons of the Forest is a rare case where a game really wants to be a horror. It tries to build atmosphere to scare you, to create tension, but a group of friends simply doesn't let it happen. For the first 30 minutes, everything feels serious. You carefully explore the island, you gather resources, you discuss where to build a base, you try not to make noise, you act like actual survivors. And then someone accidentally hits a friend with an axe, someone sets the forest on fire, someone decides to check a cave just for a second, and the horror instantly turns into a comedy. Sons of the Forest works incredibly well on contrast. One moment you are genuinely tense, listening to every sound around you, and the next moment you are trying to understand why half of your team is running around naked, screaming that they are about to get eaten. Base building deserves a special mention. Building the perfect base is almost impossible, because there is always someone who breaks something, plays it wrong, or simply drops a tree directly onto the house. And instead of getting angry, for some reason, it makes everyone laugh. So many funny moments are born from pure chaos. Someone runs too far away, someone gets lost, someone dies in the dumbest way possible, and every single time it's not a tragedy, it's just another joke. But Sons of the Forest is still a long game. It requires time, patience, and a desire to come back again and again. Not every group is ready to take it all the way to the end. That is why it takes the fourth place. It's an excellent co-op game, with tons of memes and a lot of genuinely funny moments. But ahead of it are games that deliver pure chaos almost instantly. Third place, Lego Party. The Ego Party is a game that immediately makes one thing clear. You don't need to try hard here. No complex mechanics, no pressure, no you ruined everything moments. Just fun mini games, and that familiar Lego charm. It's perfect for groups where some people play games rarely, some aren't gamers at all, and some just want to relax and laugh after a long day. In Lego Party, everyone is on equal ground, and that is its biggest strength. The minigames are very diverse. Sometimes you need to be fast, sometimes you need to be attentive, and sometimes you just need to not mess it up. But the most important part is that they don't drag on. You don't have time to get tired or bored, because the game constantly changes its pace. The atmosphere is another huge plus. Lego knows how to make things feel light, so even losing looks kind of cute. You don't get angry, you don't want to leave the lobby, you just laugh and say, alright, next round is mine. Very often, Lego Party turns into that game you join just for a bit, and then suddenly realize you have been playing for 1 or 2 hours without even noticing the time. That is because it doesn't exhaust you. It does the opposite. It keeps the mood light and positive. And that is also the reason why Lego Party is not higher on this list. There is less chaos here, less hysterical laughter, fewer moments like I'm never playing with you again. This isn't a game for shouting, it's a game for comfortable fun. That is why it takes the third place, a great option for any group, perfect for parties, and really solid balance between fun and relaxation. Second place, MIMESIS. MIMESIS is that kind of game that makes you start doubting your friends, even after you leave Discord. At first it looks like a normal co-op horror. You are together, you have a shared goal, you need to survive, help each other, and avoid mistakes. But very quickly one thing becomes clear. Not everyone here can be trusted. The core idea of MIMESIS is simple and terrifying. One of the players might no longer be who they claim to be. They look the same, they sound the same, they move the same way, but they start doing small, strange things. And those tiny details are what slowly drive you insane. You catch yourself thinking, why is he so quiet? Why did he go that way? Why did he turn around like that? And every time you get this feeling that something is about to go wrong. The strongest moments in MIMESIS are not the jump scares, they are not the chases, they are the conversations, the arguments, the accusations, the excuses, the moments where no one can actually prove that they are normal. Very often, everything ends with completely stupid decisions. Someone shoots too early, someone runs away, someone panics and kills themselves, and almost always is the wrong person. MIMESIS works beat with a group that knows each other well. The closer you are in real life, the more intense and the funnier the game becomes. Because it doesn't rely on fear, it relies on paranoia. There is only one real downside. The game requires the right mood. If people play silently or without emotion, some of the magic is lost. But if you talk, arc, joke, and accuse each other, it becomes one of the strongest co-op experiences out there. That is why it takes its second place. And first place, Human Fall Flat. Human Fall Flat is a game where it's impossible to play the right way, and that is exactly why it takes the number one spot. There is no timer, no punishment, no pressure. It's just you, your friends, and completely broken physics that turns every level into a circus show. Every character feels like they had one drink too many before the level even started. Your arms don't listen, your legs have a mind of their own. Every jump is a risk, and even the simplest action can end with you falling into the void. And most importantly, you mess with each other more than the game itself does. Someone pulls a lever too early. Someone lets go of a teammate at the worst possible moment. Someone says, I've got you, don't let go, and draw them 1 second later. Human Fall Flat works best in co-op. Alone is just a puzzle game. With friends, it becomes a non-stop stream of fails, where every success feels accidental, and every fall is a reason to laugh for another full minute. Very often, you solve puzzles in ways that developers clearly never intended. You use each other as tools, you build ladders out of friends, you drag someone by the head because it's faster, and it's exactly in these moments that the funniest situations are born. Human Fall Flat is a game where no one gets angry. Even if you are stuck in the same place for half an hour, it doesn't feel frustrating. Instead, it somehow makes everything even funnier. It's the perfect choice for any group, for any skill level, for nights when you just want to laugh, not compete. That's why it takes first place. Pure honest chaos, no pressure, no toxicity, no need to prove anything. If you want a game that leaves your stomach hurting from laughter and fills your memory with dozens of stories, let's start with Do you remember at that time? Human Fall Flat answered that question once and for all. So, that was our list of games you don't play to win, but to love with your friends. If you recognize your own group somewhere in the list, that means the night was a success. Let me know in the comments which game gave you the most screams, fails, and unforgettable moments, and which game you would add to this list. If the video was helpful, leave a like, it genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe for more great games and even more bad decisions. I'll see you in the next video.